Hello and welcome to the Calm and Connected podcast. I'm your host, Janine Halloran, and today I want to talk about how we can help kids learn to listen playfully. So, listening is a really important skill, as we all know. And we really need to have kids who are able to listen and follow directions. I think it's important when we're at school, but also at home. Just being able to listen is a huge key component that is a building block for those other social skills that are really important for kids to learn. And sometimes it's not as easy for kids to listen, or they don't really want to. And so how can we work on this skill with them in a playful way that doesn't feel like, okay, we're just going to work on, I'm just going to continue to say, you need to listen, pay attention, focus on my voice, focus on my words. How can we do this in a more playful way? So there are two different games that you can play with kids that actually work on listening naturally. And that's what I love. I love to find games and activities that you can do that are typical games, but you're doing it with a thoughtful lens of practicing a particular skill. So in this case, I'm thinking about the games Red Light, Green Light, and I'm thinking about Freeze Dance. And those are two games where you really have to actually use your listening ears in order to play properly. But when you're thinking about it, when you're the adult who's, creating this atmosphere for these games, you can be intentional about the way that you're talking about it and the way that you're playing it. You don't have to say, we're going to practice our listening today and let's play Red Light, Green Light to do that. But in your brain, you know that that's what's going on. That's your goal, is to continue to work on practicing listening in a playful way. So Red Light, Green Light, really simple. But there are some modifications you can make to the game to make it a little bit trickier, where they have to really stretch and use their listening ears. So you can just play Red Light, Green Light, where red means stop and green means go. You can add in different lights, like if you added in a purple light and maybe they could skip, or you add in a yellow light and maybe they hop like a bunny. You can also add in words that rhyme and see if they can listen and pay attention to the difference of those words, so that they know, oh, when he is saying green light instead of green light, I should not be going. Or bread light instead of red light. So to be tricky a little bit with that, really does help kids focus and pay attention, because they really want to move. When you're playing Red Light, Green Light, you want to get to that person. And then it's also fun for kids to get into that role as well, so they understand what it feels like when they're the person in charge. They get practice with those being in charge skills. But then also they get a chance to practice giving the directions and seeing how people react to it. And there's a piece of that that's really fun for kids, to be able to be the person who's in charge. And especially if there's an adult who's then playing, they really enjoy that, being able to be the one who is in charge of the game for a little bit, which I think is really fun. And then they also get a chance to understand what it feels like to give directions, and if they're not listened to. So that's always interesting to see how kids react when the shoe is on the other foot. But it's good social skills, interaction. And that's what I mean when I talk about teachable moments. It's in those moments that so much learning happens, when you're playing the game, when a child is in charge and something goes wrong. Don't freak out, don't panic. That's the teachable moment right there, is when you can step in and talk about, well, let's think about a different way to do this. What went wrong? What can we do next time? So it's okay if it doesn't go perfectly. It's not gonna go perfectly, but you're creating that opportunity for a moment where you can say, oh gosh, let's think about a different way we can do this. Or, great job. What a phenomenal, great listener you are. Another thing you can do is freeze dance. And that's really fun, because you can get the children involved, or the teens involved, by having them pick songs. And I always think it's interesting to pick songs from different genres. Different songs can evoke different movements from children. Different genres can do that. So it's always interesting for a child to listen to classical music and see how they dance versus country versus hip hop versus something else. So you never know how they're going to move their bodies, but then also when they're moving their bodies to be able to get them to pause when they need to. This game is great not only for listening but also self-regulation. A lot of games you play can cover a lot of different social skills, but again, you think about it intentionally as the adult. What is the goal of what you're working on this day? If your goal is to work on listening, great. Then you focus on what a great job you did listening. Everybody in the group paused when the song stopped. Fantastic. And so those are just two quick, easy, really low prep ways that you can work on practicing listening with kids. And I hope that you have a great time with that. Feel free to email me and let me know how that goes. If you have any other suggestions or ideas, that'd be great. I'd love to hear from you. You can email calm@JanineHalloran.com. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share it with others and feel free to subscribe so you'll get notified every single time a new podcast comes out. Right now, we're posting new podcasts every Thursday. And one last thing, don't forget about you. Make sure you put yourself on your own to-do list. Have a great day.